Hi, so this class is a chair yoga class for desk workers. So you'll just need a chair for this class. It can be any type of chair, it can have arms, it can even be at your desk if you like. You just need enough room to be able to fold forward and also enough room behind you so that arms distance all the way around would be great. There's also one standing pose where we'll be using the back of the chair for that, and so just making sure there's enough room behind you for that one. It is optional, so I'll give you a seated option as well, so don't worry about it if you haven't got enough room behind you. And there, you don't need any props for this class, only the chair, but if you like, we will be working towards a bind with the arms in one of the poses, so if you want to try that bind, then maybe a scarf or a belt would help, especially if you've got quite tight shoulders, so just drop that to one side for now. And when you're setting up your chair, you might need to move forward a bit, maybe grab in a few blocks just to bring your hips, so you want your ankles stacked over your knee or stacked under your knees and knees in line with hips. So maybe sitting on some extra blankets or cushions, or bringing your feet onto some blocks or something just to get that alignment. And we can sit forward in the chair as well. It's nice to have a little bit of room behind you just for when we're kind of doing a couple of poses with the hands behind the back. And if your back's quite high or anything like that, don't worry about it. You just adjust the pose how it feels good for you, and that's pretty much it. So let's get started. So coming to your seated position, checking your alignment, and we'll just start with a few grounding breaths, starting to really waken up the diaphragm and just center ourselves into the practice today. So you can close your eyes for this first bit if you like, or maybe just rest the gaze on something that's not moving, and maybe just bring the hands to the knees, or if you like, you can bring the hands to the belly. And we'll just take a few deep breaths here, so breathing in through the nose, feeling the belly expand under the hands, holding it at the top, and then exhale, sighing it out the mouth, feeling the belly soften. We'll just do that 2 more times. Inhaling, feeling the belly expand under the hands. Hold it at the top. And exhale, sigh out. And last time, inhaling. Hold it at the top. And exhale, sigh out. And then just letting your breath return back to its natural rhythm. Maybe bringing the hands to the knees. And we'll just start to bring some movement with the breath now. So starting with the neck, just bringing the chin towards the chest on the exhale. And on the inhale, bringing the gaze up towards the ceiling. Just go as far as what feels good for the neck. And then exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, gaze up. Last time, exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, gaze up. And then just bringing the head back to center. And we'll take the gaze over the right shoulder. And then coming back to center. And left shoulder. Back to center one more time. Right shoulder. Back to center. Left shoulder. Back to center, and from here dropping the right ear over the right shoulder. You can stay here if you like, or you might like to take the fingertips to the outside of the head, just letting gravity deepen you into the pose here, so not pushing down at all. And you can stay here if you like, or you can send the left fingertips out towards the side, maybe holding onto the side of the chair, or just sending them out towards the left, and maybe flexing the fingers in towards the body. This just deepens the stretch down the side of the neck, over the shoulder, and sometimes all the way to the fingertips. And then on the next exhale, just dropping the chin towards the chest, and notice how the stretch may move along the side of the neck. And then gently bringing the chin back up, and then supporting the head, coming back up to center. We'll take that on the opposite side. So this time, the left ear over the left shoulder. Maybe placing the fingertips on the side of the head, and maybe sending the right arm out towards the side, maybe flexing through the fingertips and just holding it here for a couple of breaths. And while we're in this pose, we want to keep a nice straight spine. So notice if you're rounding forward and see if you can keep the spine nice and straight. And then dropping the chin towards the chest, again noticing how that affects the pose, affects the stretch. And then slowly bring the chin up. And then supporting the head, coming back up to centre, releasing the arms down by the side. So from here we'll take a side stretch now. So on the next inhale, just reaching the arms up and overhead. Start to really lengthen through the spine, stretching up through the fingertips. And then from here we'll send the left arm down the left side. And then just extend the right arm over, palm facing down. So you can stay here if you like. Maybe with the left hand you can hold onto the side of the chair. Or you can send that left hand to the outside of the right leg. Still stretching through the side here. It can just help stabilise the body and also deepen you into the stretch. Again, notice if you're rounding forward and see if you can keep the chest nice and open. And gaze can be up if that feels okay for the neck, or it can be down, or it can be neutral. Just see what feels good for you. And then inhale, coming back up, bringing both arms up and overhead. And exhale, we'll take it to the other side this time. So bring the right arm down, left arm over, palm facing down. And maybe sending the right hand to the outside of the left leg, deepening into this side stretch. Again, noticing if you're rounding forwards, if you can really open up. One more deep breath here. And then inhale, coming back up, bringing both arms up and overhead. And this time on the exhale, we'll start to twist towards the left and then bring the left hand behind us and the right hand comes to the outside of the left knee. So you can take the hand to the side of the chair, wherever feels good for you, depending on what chair you've got. And we're just taking a gentle twist here. Maybe sending the gaze over the left shoulder if that feels okay for the neck. Nice deep breaths here. And then exhale, slowly unwind, bring the arms back, up and overhead. On the exhale, we'll twist over towards the opposite side now, bring that left hand towards on the outside of the right knee, right hand behind us. And then lengthening through the spine. And on the next exhale, maybe sending the gaze over the shoulder. And then inhale, exhale, slowly unwind, bringing the arms back up overhead, stretching through the fingertips. And then exhale, releasing the arms down by the side, maybe just rolling the shoulders out a couple of times, if that feels good for you. So we'll go through a short sun salutation version or variation now. So on the next inhale, we'll reach the arms up and overhead, gaze can be up. Exhale, bring the hands behind us, interlacing the fingers, start to open up through the chest, draw the navel in, gaze can be up. And then on the next exhale, starting to fold forward, bringing the arms up behind you, releasing the head down towards the floor. And then releasing the arms, moving into our forward fold. Releasing the head out a little bit if we like. And then on the next inhale, bring the hands to the shins, calming up. Exhale, forward fold. On the next inhale, bring the arms out to the side, pull that navel in and make your way back up. Bring the hands up overhead, gaze is up. And then exhale to release the arms down by the side. Inhale, bring the arms back up overhead. And this time moving into the twist. We'll send the left hand back, right hand forward, opening up to the left. Gaze can be back towards that back thumb if you like, or you can keep the gaze forward. Just making sure that the torso is kind of still facing forward here, so stretching through the upper part, or twisting through the upper part of the spine. Inhale, bringing both arms up and overhead. And exhale, twisting to the opposite side. Taking a few deep breaths here. And then inhale, bringing both arms up and overhead, gaze can be up. Rotating the palms so they're facing forward, and on the exhale, start to cactus the arms out, drawing the shoulder blades together. Inhale, reaching the arms back up. Exhale, cactusing the arms, really drawing the shoulder blades together. Inhale, reaching the arms back up. And then exhale, releasing the arms down by the side. And we'll just take a few shoulder rolls now. So on the inhale, drawing the shoulders up towards the ears. And exhale, roll them down the back. 2 more times, just drawing the shoulders up towards the ears. And exhale, down the back. Last time, inhale, drawing the shoulders up. And exhale, rolling them down the back. So we've moved through our sun salutation variation. So now we should feel a little bit more mobile in the upper body, in the spine. So we'll do a little bit for the shoulders, and this is where we'll be taking our cow face arms, and I will give you the option of moving into a bind, so you might like to have your scarf nearby for this next bit. So first I'll give you the first option. You don't need a scarf or anything for this. First option is we'll just take the left arm up, palm facing behind us, and then just bend in at the elbow, bringing the back of the hand to the upper back. So staying here, maybe placing the right hand on the elbow and just gently pushing back here. We want to try and keep the arm in towards the ear and also the chin, so there's a bit of a gap between the chin and the chest. So just working here in this first option, or if you want to start moving towards a bind, you can send the right hand out to the right side, face the thumb so it's facing downwards, start to bend at the elbow, and we'll just bring the hand behind us. So the back of the hand is on our back. And then from here, you can take your scarf or your strap, just taking it over that shoulder, and you can start to just draw the hands together. So just working here, if I just move around, you might be able to see a bit better. Now if you're quite open in the shoulders, you can start to see whether you can bring the fingertips together. So moving into a full bind. Now if you do take this option, notice whether you're starting to round forward at all and see whether you can just keep the spine nice and straight. If you can't keep the spine nice and straight, you might want to take one of the options. Maybe if you haven't got a scarf, you can just grab onto your jumper or your top. So just working here, slowly working towards the bind. We'll just take a few deep breaths here, whichever option you're working with today. And then on the next exhale, just really slowly coming out of the pose, bringing the arms out behind us, taking a couple of shoulder rolls here. It can be quite an intense pose for the shoulders. So we'll take that on the opposite side now. So if you're using your scarf, just placing it over the shoulder to start, makes it a little bit easier. So our first option is to take the right arm, just place the hand so it's on the back of the shoulder, and just taking the opposite hand to the shoulder, and just working here, opening up the armpit and the tricep, keeping space between the chin and the chest. Otherwise, if you want to work towards the bind, we'll send the left hand out, thumb facing down, and then just start to bend at the elbow, bringing that hand in towards the body, bring the back of the hand onto the back, and then just working the fingertips together, maybe just gripping onto your top, or maybe taking the scarf or yoga belt. Again, noticing if you're starting to round forward at all, just seeing whether you can keep the spine nice and straight. Keeping the elbows that's drawing in towards the ear. And taking a few deep breaths here. And then slowly, when you're ready to come out of it, releasing it, the hands slowly unwind in the same way you came in. Bring the hands down by the side and just rolling the shoulders a couple of times. So you won't need your belt or strap now, so you can just place that to one side. We'll do a couple more things with the shoulders now. So really starting to work the rhomboids, which is the muscle in between the shoulder blades. And this muscle, if we strengthen this, it can prevent that kind of rounding that we get when we're on a computer that's hunching kind of position that we can sometimes develop. By strengthening these muscles, we'll start to really correct that hunching position. So it's a really good one to do. So this is called bird winging. So just readjusting your position if you need to. We'll bring our hands out in front with our palms facing up. And we want to keep our elbows and the upper arm drawing in towards the ribs. Shoulders are drawing down the back. So just notice if you have your shoulders up towards your ears. See if you can just draw them down the back by rolling them downwards. And then start to keep those elbows drawing in towards the ribs as we move the hands out towards the side on the inhale. Holding it there. And then exhale, slowly release. So we'll do that a few times. You want to feel some resistance as you move the hands out towards the side. And you want to try and keep that upper arm really pulling in towards the body. So this is engaging the muscles in between the shoulder blades. So we'll do that a few more times. Inhale, drawing the hands out towards the side. Exhale, release. Inhale, drawing the hands out towards the side. Exhale, release. Inhale. Exhale, release. Inhale, drawing the hands out. Exhale, release. Two more times. Inhale, drawing the hands out. Exhale, release. Last time, inhale. Hold it there. Exhale, release. And just bringing the hands back onto the legs, just noticing how that feels. So now we start to wake up those muscles in the upper back. We'll do a little bit more and we'll also work on the hands and the wrists as well. So this is really great for anyone that spends a lot of time typing. And if you do rock climbing, this is also really good for the hands as well. So we'll start by just bringing the hands out in front of us. Imagine you're pushing into an invisible wall. And as you're here, you don't want to be rounding the shoulders forward at all. You really want to draw those shoulder blades together. It's keeping the back nice and straight. And you might start to notice the forearms working, the wrists working. And as you're here, start to create lots of space in between each finger. Holding it here. And then exhale, release, shake it out. And then we'll take that pose again. So start to push into that invisible wall, drawing those shoulder blades together, so really opening up through the chest. Holding it there. And then on the next exhale with the left hand, we're just going to start to rotate the fingers so the fingers are pointing down. And then with the opposite hand, just going to gently start to pull back each finger, just massaging them out. So we're creating space between each joint, really lengthening out the fingers, creating lots of space there. When you get to the thumb, just gently pulling that backwards. And then when you're done, just shake it out, release. And then coming back into our kind of pushing it into the wall pose. I don't think this pose has a name, so. And pulling those shoulder blades together. And this time slowly rotating the opposite hand so the fingertips are pointing down. And then gently pulling back each finger one at a time. And not forgetting the thumb. And when you're done, just shaking it out. So this time we'll bring the hands out in front of us, and we still want to be drawing the shoulder blades together, so no rounding forward, just really opening up through the chest. This time we'll have the fingertips so they're pointing down. So starting to feel the stretch over the tops of the wrists. And then from here we'll take the right thumb and we'll place it in between the palm of the hand and just gently start to push into the palm as you pull the hand inwards with the fingers. Just deepening into the wrist stretch. Holding it there. And then exhale, release, shake it out. And we'll do the same on the opposite side. So bring the hands out in front of us, fingertips pointing down, drawing the shoulder blades together, shoulders down, so not drawing the shoulders up towards the ears at all. And then this time with the left thumb, we'll just place it in between the palm and start to push into that hand. And a nice stretch over the wrist. Taking a few deep breaths there. And then exhale, release, shake it out. Great. So now one more for the upper body. This is eagle arms. So you may have done this pose before, and I'm going to give you 3 options. So take whichever is best for you. So our first option is just placing our left hand on our right shoulder, right hand on our left shoulder, bringing the elbows together, and then just starting to lift the elbows up here. So this is our first option. The second option is to bring the arms out wide and then bring in the left hand in front of us, bending at the elbow, left palm facing towards the right. And then the right hand, we just cross it over the left, bring the backs of the hands together. So this is our second option. And again, we'll start to lift the elbows up, so creating space between the elbows and the navel or the chest. And then if you want to take the third option, you can just start to bring the palms together. So just deepening into this shoulder stretch. And again, whichever option you take, just bring the shoulders up, so creating space, keeping the back nice and straight. And you want some distance between the chin and the chest, not crunching the neck at all. I'm just taking a few deep breaths here. This is a really intense shoulder stretch. And then when you're ready to come out the pose, just gently unwinding the arms, bring them out to the side, maybe taking a couple of shoulder rolls to here. And then we'll just take that on the opposite side. So this time with the right hand to the left shoulder, the left hand to right shoulder. Our first option, we'll bring the arms out wide, placing the right hand in front of us, bending at the elbow, palm facing towards the left, and then crossing the opposite arm over, bring the backs of the hands together, lifting up the elbows. Or if you like, seeing whether you can bring the palms of the hands together, continuing to lift up through the elbows. This is our eagle arms pose. I'm just taking a few deep breaths here. And exhale, slowly releasing the arms, just giving yourself a couple of shoulder rolls here. So we've worked through most of the upper body, now we'll do a little bit for the legs as well. So starting with some hip rolls, bringing the hands to the legs, we'll just bring the torsos over the right leg and then drawing it over towards the left and then coming through the back. So just taking some really big shoulder circles, starting to waken up the hip joints and the pelvis. And then switching directions. And then coming back to center. So continuing to wake up the hip flexors now. We'll start with the left leg, so just lifting the left leg up, placing the hands around the shin, interlacing the fingers. And we'll just start to gently rock the leg back and forth. And a slight movement through the hip. And then leaving the leg pulling in towards the body, we'll start to move the ankle, starting to flex and extend the toes. And then starting to draw some circles with the ankle in one direction. And then the opposite direction. And then gently placing the left foot down, we'll take it to the opposite side now, so interlacing the hands around the right shin and just gently starting to draw the knee in and then releasing it out. You might hear a few cracks or pops, that's perfectly normal. And then drawing the knee in towards the chest, we'll start to flex and extend the toes. Starting to get some movement in the ankle. And then drawing some circles with the ankle in one direction. And then the other direction. And releasing that foot back down onto the floor. So now we'll take a hip opener. If you do have any knee pain, then just come out of the pose and I'll give you a couple of different options as well, but it can be quite intense for some people, so just keeping that in mind. So starting with the left leg, we'll just lift the left leg up and place the ankle over the right knee. Keep those toes flexing in towards the knee and just starting to open up through the left hip. So if this is too much, you can just cross the knees here and work here to see how you are today. So our first option is to keep the back nice and straight, just working in this upright position. Otherwise, you can start to fold forward, maybe even releasing the arms down, dropping the head down. It's just working wherever you are today. If you are quite open in the hips and you might like to take cradle the baby pose, so for that pose we'll take the right arm around the arch of the foot, left arm comes around the thigh, and then just bringing the hands together, interlacing the fingers. So either working here, or you can see whether you can lift the leg off the floor. You can just make sure you keep those toes pointing in towards the knee because that protects the knee. And you can either stay here in a static pose, keeping the back nice and straight to protect the back, or you can take some little movements here. This is really good for the piriformis muscle in the outer hip. Really starting to open up the hips, the outer hip muscles. And whichever option you're in, we're just going to slowly come out of it. So placing the foot back down, if you've got it lifted, releasing the arms, slowly making your way back up, and then just uncrossing the legs, bring it down towards the side. So take that on the opposite leg now. So starting to lift the right leg up, crossing the ankle over the knee, keeping those toes flexing in towards the knee. And this is your first option, just opening up the thigh to the side. And then if you like, you can start to fold forward, maybe coming over that shin, maybe releasing the hands and the head back down. Or if you like, you can take cradle the baby again. Just making sure you keep those toes in towards the knee. Now you might notice that this side feels slightly different to the other side. For me, this side is definitely tighter, so just working where you are today. Remembering that yoga should never feel painful, so if you feel any pain, just gently coming out of the pose. And then when you're ready to come out, just making your way out of the pose slowly and crossing the legs and coming back to your seated position. So I mentioned at the start of the class we have one standing pose today, and we'll take that now. So this pose is really great for opening up the shoulders. So if you've been sat down working at a desk all day, this is a really good one to do. It will also, if you take the standing option, it'll also stretch through the hamstrings and the back of the legs, because we haven't done too much of that today. So you can do this on a wall, or you can use the back of your chair. Sorry, Bonnie, I'm just going to move this chair around. So if you're working with a chair, you're just going to bring your hands to the back of the chair, start to walk the feet backwards, dropping the head down so the head comes down to in between the arms. So just working here, we're trying to make an L shape, so just adjusting the feet and the hands so we're kind of working into that L position. And you can do the exact same position on a wall as well. For some people that might actually be better because you can readjust a lot easier the position of the hands. I'm just taking a few deep breaths there. Now you can do this pose seated as well. And it just means that you won't get the stretch through the backs of the legs. But if you are taking it seated, just resting the hands onto your desk or a table and dropping the chest forward in between the hands, you'll still get that nice stretch between the shoulder blades. We just want to make sure we keep the back nice and straight, so not rounding through the lower back up all when we do this. Just to keep that back nice and protected. So whichever option you're in, just taking a few deep breaths there. And then slowly, when you're ready to come out of it, just walking the feet back in, making your way back up to a standing position. And then making your way to a comfortable seat. And to finish the class, we usually take a Shavasana, but because this is a chair yoga class, we will just take a seated relaxation to end. So just bring the hands onto the tops of the legs, maybe closing the eyes, softening the gaze. And just starting to bring your attention to your breath. Just watching the breath as it flows in and out of the body. Just noticing any movement with the breath. So maybe noticing the chest rise, the ribs expand, or the belly expanding on the inhale. And on the exhale, you might notice the belly soften, the ribs fall, and the chest falls. Just watching this movement with breath. And then starting to notice the sound of your breath. Maybe starting to notice the sounds around you. And we can start to slowly make a few small movements, maybe wriggling the fingers and the toes. You can start to move the head side to side if you like. And then on the next inhale, we'll just start to bring our arms up overhead, really reaching through the fingertips. And exhale, release. And if you've got the eyes closed, you can gently blink them open now. And that brings us to the end of our practice today. I thank you for practicing with me and I hope you enjoyed the class. Thank you.